American foreign policy throughout the 1920s and 30s. After fighting in World War I on the Allied side, America returned to a policy of isolationism after the war. This meant that although the USA continued to trade with other countries, it did not get involved in any quarrels which they thought may result in war. They followed a policy of isolationism for several reasons. They firstly had the memory of the First World War and the huge suffering that it had caused as a result. They had many economic problems led by the Depression after the Wall Street crash that still needed to be dealt with. Involvement in foreign European countries may also result in problems further in their economy. They had a distrust and dislike of Europeans who seemed to get involved in various conflicts, and the Americans wanted to make sure that they stayed out of conflicts that were far away from them and really had nothing to do with them. The USA were protected by the Atlantic and the Pacific, so they could actually afford to go it alone if needed. In practice, this meant that America did not join the League of Nations in the 1920s, even though the League had been Woodrow Wilson's idea. They passed a series of neutrality acts throughout the 1930s which limited how much trade the US could do with countries at war. The USA did not enter the war in 1939 when the Second World War started, but isolation was not complete. The USA led disarmament meetings. It signed the Kellogg-Briand Pact in 1928, which renounced war as a means of settling disputes, and throughout the 1920s and 30s it lent money to European countries. It also became increasingly involved with negotiations with Japan, and in 1929 it signed the Naval Pact, which meant and attended the Washington conferences, which meant that Japan and America agreed to reduce its naval influence in the world.